Alright everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation. I'm your casting host, Beef. Thank you very much for joining me today. Once again, going to be going into some replays here from the Assembly Summer 2012 event. Just finished up about 3 weeks ago at the time of casting here. Doing some more round of 32 matches. Yesterday we brought you a very nice match between Liquid Tasia and Evil Genius's Idra. Today we're going to bring you a match from one of Idra's teammates. Let's get right into it. Down here in the bottom left, the Blue Terran sporting some absolutely incredible results at foreigner tournaments around the world. The champions of NASL Seasons 1 and 2 IEM champion, taking Cologne last year, taking second place at the World Championships, and third place at Guangzhou. You know, he's got a pretty nice pedigree of his own. He is Evil Genius's Puma. And in the top right-hand corner, his opponent for the day, the Red Protoss, sporting some pretty nice results of his own, recently taking fourth place over here at MLG Anaheim, event I happened to attend. One of my favorites, he is Quantic SaSe. So getting right on into it here on Entombed Valley, it looks like there's going to be a gateway popping down for our Protoss player. Not going to be opting for a Forge Expand, something that was taken a little bit more seriously about a month ago in the GSL, where Protoss were really getting into this Forge Expand against Terran, just popping down one or two cannons to ward off any kind of early aggression. It really allowed the Protoss player to expand a little bit faster, something that SaSe and Naniwa both were doing quite a bit. So at this time, it's a little bit less popular. That was kind of a flavor of the month sort of thing, and Quantic SaSe going to be going right back to standard with the 1 gate expand. Gas going to be going down as well. So he's going to be able to get his Cyber Core up, start Warp Gate research, and be able to defend himself from any kind of aggression, even put on some aggression with something like a 3-gate pressure. Back home for Puma, he's actually going to be banking quite a bit of minerals right now, with that first barracks coming up and the command center being morphed into an orbital command. As soon as that hits about 400, he will most likely be dropping that CC on the low ground over here, so it's going to be a 1 racks expand for Puma as well. Let's talk a little bit about the map here. Entombed Valley, quite the large map. These players are in cross-spawn positions, and so it's going to be lending itself quite a bit to a macro game. We've seen some very good PVZs here on this map. Something like Marine King Prime versus Startails Parting back at IPL 4 comes to mind. Absolutely incredible game that was here on Entombed Valley. Just the back and forth macro type game that you really can come to expect out of 2 top level players, and so I'm really hoping that's what we get to see here, something with an extremely extended mid game. But right now, SaSe actually going to be chrono boosting out 2 Zealots and a Stalker here. Getting those Zealots out across the map, wants to be able to scout, going to make its way up into the bottom right hand base over here and realize he's not there. Next Zealot is going to be going cross map, but with those 2 Zealots and the Stalker, there's no Nexus going down just yet, and it looks like he's actually going to be able to put on a decent amount of pressure, but fortunately Puma has prepared pretty decently with this. 1 bunker already going to be going up with 3 Marines out, a 4th on the way. And Puma even going to be building 2 racks right behind this, going all the way up to 3 racks as he takes both of his gas. So this is a completely standard 1 racks fast expand for Puma. With the 1 racks fast expand, this one should be turning into a tech lab, both of these turning into reactors eventually here, so that Puma is going to be able to start his tech of choice, along with the factory coming down relatively soon. Back at home for our Protoss player, the Nexus has gone down in 1 additional gateway as well, with sentries in production. Warp Gate already about 3/4 of the way done. So at this point, SaSe is content to just really hold on to that map control. With the 2 sentries going to be coming out onto the field, going to be accumulating energy, so any kind of later aggression for SaSe will have plenty of force shields and guardian shields to deal with. Right now, this Stalker going to be chasing all the way up into the top left-hand corner to take that SCV down. But additional 2 gateways coming down right now. Excuse me, this is total, yeah, 2 gateways and the Robo facility going to be coming down after that Nexus for SaSe. So SaSe going to be opting for the 3-gate Robo, something that's gone pretty standard in both PvT and even PvP. Something that's pretty good build. And so with that Robo coming out, I'm interested to see if he's going to be using that for something like a Warp Prism, or if he'll be using that for Immortals, for a little bit more of that pushing power against things like Marauders. So we'll see how that does in fact play out. That 3rd gas going down right there for the natural. I do think this is probably going to be some immortal production. Right now, he doesn't really need that gas for the tech that he's on right now, although he could be going for that Robo Bay. Yeah, so this is actually going to turn into a 2-base Colossus, not necessarily all in just yet. We'll see how many gateways he throws down to accompany this, but with that Robo Bay going in, he is going to be going for a 2-base Colossus push, which is something that is extremely popular. We see it all the time against players like TaSe, even in the last IPL Team Arena Challenge, the finals. We saw him get all in with that 2-base Colossus push, I want to say 4 times in that the 2 best-of-9 series, and he was able to thwart it every single time except for the last time he ended up falling to seed, which is highly unfortunate for TaSe, who's just looking absolutely brilliant. But it's a very, very strong push coming out by the Protoss player, but it really relies on the Terran not really scouting it, not knowing that it's coming, and not being prepared with enough starports and with enough bunkers. But Entombed Valley is a pretty good place to be doing that, just because of the mobility that you can get here onto the 3rd and the different angles that you're going to be able to get out. Observer going to be coming down right now for our Protoss player, going to be able to scout everything that's coming out. And the Terran is actually just sitting here on his 3 racks right now, going to be pumping out as many Marines and Marauders as he can. Combat Shield is going to be about halfway done with Stim, not even started research yet. Reactor on the starport going to be pumping out the first couple of medevacs right here as the factory floats across the map. But right now, Quantic SaSe is actually going to be dropping a 3rd Nexus. So it looks like he's not going to be going all in just yet with this this Colossus push right now. Colossus number 1 is going to be starting to make its way out onto the map right now. Currently rallied across the map, so I hope he changes that rally point up. Don't want to see any of those start to make their way out there. Extended Thermal Lance not going to be used right now, but that Double Forge is going to be churning 1-1 upgrades for SaSe's army, whereas 1-1 for Puma is not started yet. A couple more of these, +1 weapons is going to be finished already, whereas +1 armor is going to be started now. It's kind of odd to only see 1 engineering bay for Protoss recently. Right now, though, it is looking like Puma's going to push out onto the map, wants to be able to put a little bit of aggression on, and SaSe does not want to be on the map right now. This is actually a really bad engagement location for SaSe. A couple of nice force fields go down. He's going to be able to pick off a couple of those Marines there and one of the medevacs, so very nice job there from our Protoss player. The Twilight Council did go down, not researching anything yet right now, probably even just going to be so that he can start +2/2 as soon as possible here. But look at that, charge is going to start. So with all those Zealots going to be coming out, it looks like the standard play for most of these Protoss is to do a charge lot Archon based army, jumping the rest of the gas into something like High Templar to be morphed into Archons, although you could be using a lot of that gas for Colossus right now. With the Thermal Lance upgrade still not started, though. Let me confirm that. Yeah, still not starting Thermal Lance. I wonder if he's forgotten that, because he's certainly got the gas to do it right now. He's just not pumping that out. So a couple of these Zealots going to be making their way down there. Do kill the Scouting Marine, but with only 1 Colossus on the field currently, and Immortal production is going to be starting here out of the Robo. Well, it did come out of the Robo. It's interesting to see if SaSe is going to be following that up, or if he instead opts just for that Charge Lot Archon army. But down here in the right-hand corner of the natural, there is a drop coming in from Puma, and that's going to be spotted very quickly by the probe trying to get in there and go ahead and drop some gateways. But those Marines are actually doing quite a bit of damage right now, and the army completely out of position right now for SaSe. That drop is still going to be going on, and they're going to be trying to target down Sartosis Pylon, which will stop charge, but Puma going to be moving in and taking out all of the units here at the 3rd base for SaSe. Even going to be putting a little bit of pressure onto this Nexus at this time, but the load up into those 2 medevacs is going to get the majority of those units out of there. And SaSe taking a lot of economic damage at this point. 1 Marine over here, even with 8 kills. The Artosis Pylon does go down over here, and the rest of these medevacs do look like they're going to get cleaned up, not going to get out of there. So Puma did lose a lot of army units at this time. The factory even coming down here, landing, preventing the movement across this area a little bit. There's still one little gap where you can get through there. But let's take a look at how many workers SaSe did lose. 37 workers. He even stopped production on his 2-2, stopped production on both of those gateways, stopped production there on the charge. So SaSe is actually in a pretty rough spot right now. 34 workers to 56 SCVs, and Puma has actually already got his 3rd base down as well, so triple mules. and dropping down another factory in addition to an engineering bay. He lost that factory over there, so that's why he's having to drop that. Not going to be seeing any kind of a tech transition. He really just wants to get that armory up. He doesn't have an armory right now, so he's not able to continue production of his upgrades. And so he needs that factory up and to drop any additional starports, which is a late game necessity for the Terran player. About 8 Vikings going to be on the map already just for that one Colossus. So Puma actually pumping a lot more Vikings than he needs. Only 1 medevac, 2 medevacs now on the field. So it's a little bit interesting there. I don't know how effectively SaSe's army is going to stack up against this, as one observer is going to get sniped and the second observer right next to those Vikings. No scan for the time being. This one Colossus is going to fall extremely fast right here, but SaSe, with the loss of all that economy, really feeling like he needs to do damage here. And the second observer does go down. All of these zealots here with +2/2 are going to be very effective against the +1/1 army, and we'll see how this does end up lining up right here. Colossus in the back taking a lot of fire from the Vikings, and it does fall very quickly right there, but some beautiful force fields for Puma, really. I mean, with the Charge Slot Archon army, you really want your force fields to be absolutely perfect, able to make sure that the bio units aren't able to run away. But right there, it was actually more so that these are some better force fields right there, making sure that the Zealots were able to get in there, and they weren't able to do anything. They were just taking all this fire. The Immortal's going to be pounding it on some of these Marauders from the backfield, and one of these Archons going to be taking a lot of damage right now. But it just doesn't look like SaSe has the power to push through this for right now. The SCVs can be coming off the line. The Immortal getting a surround here on the SCVs. But yeah, it looks like SaSe is going to have to retreat right now. There's just way too much bile from Puma. The last Archon is going to fall, and right now it's just a couple of gateway units, and SaSe calls GG. So a very nice game there out of Puma, able to get that double drop going on. Well, the drop and then the run by into the third deal some pretty large economic damage, really forcing SaSe to go all in. Wasn't going to be able to recover economically from that position, and Puma with the proper counter for that one Colossus, and then just some lucky engagements there with the gateway versus the bio army. Very nice job. All right, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. We will be right back with game 2 in this best of 5 series, and we'll catch you then.